analysis professionally over the decades, do a lot of that, and I look to see if there's a trend curve, and then I can write an equation for that curve. Then I can extrapolate out.
Merry Christmas
that,
morning.
if we assume that curve
We
is
got
is valid for
our ham friends and the morning net here.
In this particular case was
Monday morning, Christmas morning,
I am
2023.
It may be a bad assumption, but
Hope you're having a good holiday, whatever day you're celebrating today.
Of licenses issued,
and if you're alone, you're not alone right now.
Probably like
listen to this later, you won't be alone.
Cycles. There's an
Again.
11-year sunspot cycle, but I'm not saying that it's periodic in that sense. But there are a lot of people that are convinced that the writing on the wall says so, that we're going to have very great difficulties in the future, and they're thinking, well, amateur radio is something that I want to know about. Whether that's a valid thinking or not, that's something else. But it's writings on the wall, and so I'm thinking that the only valid data set is that's in our immediate vicinity this year. So I went back to the beginning of disease, which happened in August. I think it was August 24th when they issued the first KE8Z something or another. So anyway, I wrote it up on the Chelsea Amateur Radio Club website, WDHIEL.org. All the ways that I figured it, the ways I solved for the amount of days, and then extrapolating out the number of licenses that are required from December 23rd to get to KF8AAA. So we shall see. I'm saying January 29th, but you gotta say plus or minus like 3 or 4 days. Anything beyond that, I would say, anything inside that window, I'd say is dead accurate. Back to you, Jim. This is W8SX. Well, Wes, I just wrote down in my notes January the 29th, plus or minus 2 or 3 days for the KF sequence of license assignments to be made. And I'll put that in my notes, and we'll monitor that, and we'll come back in February and see how we're doing on that. It's always good to follow up on your predictions.
Write that down in your learning logs.
Predictions turn out better than others, and I'm not predicting one way or the other, but it will be fun to see just how close you get to the actual date. And so congratulations on your blog post and your analysis, and being a data-driven kind of guy. I like that a lot. And with that, let's leave a long pause to see if somebody else wants to check in, because just talking back and forth, well, that's more difficult than having a small group in which to share information. So let's leave a long pause before picking it up again. This is W8SX. Well, we keep listening, and we keep listening, and you know that there's licensed amateurs out there who are listening, but for their own purposes. Maybe they're too shy, or maybe they hate us. Oh, no. But they're not keying up. Shame. So anyway, part of my reasoning in coming up with January 29th, well, that's just simply what it's all for, but I was thinking maybe with some other factors I could move that plus or minus a few days. And so I was thinking most examinations happen over the weekend, mainly Saturdays, some Sundays. So I was thinking that the person that ends up with the KF8 AAA would have taken an exam that previous Saturday. And then two, that doesn't show up in the database with the FCC until the earliest Monday or perhaps Tuesday. When I took my exam 4 or 5 years ago, 2019 anyway, it was like 4 days. I think it first appeared on the FCC database on Thursday, but in those days, Mark Goodwin, he was the VE examiner. He mailed it in by snail mail, I guess we call it. Anyway, thank you. I'm back to you, Jim. This is W8S6. Well, Wes, you know that I'm a COVID ham. I didn't get licensed until the COVID pandemic. I suddenly had extra time on my hands. I wasn't going places. I wasn't doing that I sort of had anticipated that I would do. And I was home, and I had more time to study and think about things I had possibly wanted to do when I was a younger man and didn't think I had time to do. And so the COVID pandemic was a opportunity for me to pursue radio, something that I hadn't done on my own when there were other things to do. And I'm happy that I did pursue it. I've been enjoying ham radio a lot. This roundtable, talking on there, but also this past fall, doing Parks on the Air kinds of stuff. That was really why I got into ham radio to begin with, was I wanted to do Parks on the Air and go out and do those kinds of things. And it's been a lot of fun. And so I'm hoping that the hams that maybe got a new radio, they already have their license and they might want to try out their new radio. But if you're a want-to-be ham, you don't have your own license yet, but you got a new radio, well, you can listen, but I would caution you not to transmit because that's not legal. And but get that license, and we'll welcome you with open arms to the family. With that, over to you, Wes, at 8QM. This is W8STX. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's some youngsters listening right now who got a Bofang, and they're all excited about amateur radio but don't have a license. Well, I'd like those youngsters to know we in the amateur community are here to help. There's so many clubs there. There's the U of M Club, there's the Ann Arbor Aero Club, the Chelsea Club, the Jackson Club. There's a club in Adrian and probably some others nearby that I don't know about. Just Google like Chelsea Amateur Radio or Ann Arbor Amateur Radio, and you'll find the websites, and you'll find contact information in there. Contact them, tell them, I want to get an amateur radio license. Help. And, we'll do all we can. We'll just walk you through the process. You're going to have to do the study. We can't do the study for you. It's just so... Probably plan on about 2 weeks of study material. Once you get the exam book and the study material, sure, you just memorize the questions and the answers, but that's not the way to do it. It's just not the way. You want to understand what you're answering in the questions. Let me send it back to you, Jim. This is NHUM. NHDUY repeater. Good morning. Merry Christmas. WB0RMN. WB0RMN. Good morning, Larry. Good to hear you on the radio. Merry Christmas to you. Go ahead and take a round and then pass it back to me, W8STX. Well, I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be able to wish you all Merry Christmas. I've got a busy morning, so I'm going to say my one and done, but I hope you folks are having a good Christmas, and I don't know what to say. It's just feeling really blessed by family and friends, and that's it for me for this morning. Jim, thanks for being there and for doing what you do. And I heard Wes. He's the only one other than you I've heard. But so Merry Christmas and 7-3 to all. WB0RMN.
Merry Christmas.
I thought I'd leave a long pause there to see if somebody else would join in. Larry, great to hear your voice on the radio this morning. Thanks for checking in. Enjoy time with your family, and we'll hope to talk with you again later on a round. And we are very, very happy that you survived the encounter with the Grim Reaper earlier and that you're on the mend and that you are enjoying your time with family and friends. So Merry Christmas to you. And with that, over to you, Wes, in 8QM. This is W8STX.
Well, this is NAQM. Now leaving a long pause this time because I want to say Merry Christmas, Larry. Merry Christmas. You know, this is the time of year. Well, this is the day that we recognize the birth of the risen Lord. You know, the one who bled and died that he might bring us to God, that he was put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit, that our sins might be forgiven. So anyway, hey, good hearing from you, Larry. Oh, so good to hear from you. I was hoping that we get more than one, because, well, if I hadn't joined in, Jim would be here all by himself. So I know you're just listening out, Larry, so Merry Christmas, and I'm going to leave a long pause before Jim picks it up. Maybe somebody else will join in AQM. KE4ZYQ.
KE4ZYQ. Good morning, Joe. Good to hear you on the radio. Go ahead and take her around, then pass it to me, W8STX. Merry Christmas.
Yes, KE4ZYQ. Merry Christmas. Almost sound like Santa Claus there. But yes, Merry Christmas. I'm surprised I'm awake right now because I stayed up for services on TV at midnight. Then I woke up and watched another service. I'm double blessed, I guess. I don't know what you call it. But Merry Christmas. Good to be alive, warm, food, awake, and on the radio talking to at least two nice people out there I know of. Just turned on the radio a couple minutes ago, so there you go. I think I'll pass it back over to either W8STX or maybe that was Larry or somebody out there, I think I heard. But go ahead and take it. Good morning.
This is W8STX. Little Joe, good to hear you on the radio this morning. It seems propagation is in your favor today. You didn't drop the repeater, and there was a little bacon, but perfectly copyable. Great to hear you. And yes, Larry, WB0RMN was in here for a fun and done, but now that he has signed, it is you and me and Wes. So that's the three of us at this point. And, well, staying up all night, I used to be that way when I was a young man, and I thought I was a night person. But once I actually started working full-time for a living after I got out of graduate school and I did not have as much flexibility in my schedule, I discovered that actually I was a morning person. and so I don't stay up late anymore, but I often get up early. But sometimes, now that I'm much older, I get up too early for the wrong reasons, including the cat that wants his breakfast at 4 o'clock in the morning. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Wes at AQM, who, I don't think he has a cat, but if he does, it's probably a barn cat, and it doesn't wake him up in the middle of the night to get breakfast. Go ahead, Wes.
We have two barn cats. They live outdoors. One of them is not interested in any way in coming into the house. Ever. The other one is interested. He'll sneak into the house if he can get in there when he is hungry, because he knows when he comes into the house, when he's able to sneak in, he knows that we'll put some food in his bowl outside so that he will return to the great outdoors. Those two cats really keep the mole population down that operate on our lawn. So anyway, yeah, they're good friends. Good morning, Joe. Merry Christmas, Joe. KE4 ZYQ. Good to hear you. And Joe, if you just tuned in, you probably may not have heard my prediction, but January 29th, I'm predicting that on or about January 29th, plus or minus 2 or 3 days, that the first KF8 license will be issued. And back to you.
Good morning.
And at 7:03. KE4's to return. I'll leave a little gap, like you said, for anybody getting in. But yeah, very interesting there. Very interesting, Wes. And very interesting there, Jim, too. I got to tell you a quick story if I'm making the trip. When I used to live in Tennessee, I'm from Michigan, but when I used to live in Tennessee working for a skilled nursing facility, Christmas time came around and they asked me, the workers in the facility asked me if I would be Santa Claus, kind of represent Santa Claus in the uniform and all. Well, I said yes, and that was my day of love. And when I went around to all the residents to get their presents that the facility got for them, I went around and did my whole and with the whole get up. And when I went to give her tips, I leaned up to talk to her, and she whispered, she says, "Joe, is that you?" And then I said, this is Santa Claus. And she looked at me, she said, "Oh, I won't tell anybody, but Merry Christmas." Over to Wes, W8STX in the group from KE4CYQ.
W8MAP. W8MAP, good morning, Matt. Merry Christmas to you, and welcome to the roundtable. Go take around, then pass it to me.
Joe, excellent story. KE4ZYQ, Merry Christmas to you. And same to you, Wes and Jim. Just wanted to jump in since I had a couple of moments before everybody gets up and around here. And hope you guys have a great day today. I'll listen through here and see if there's any other topics. I was just working a little bit on a pie, raspberry pie, and remembering I have a stash of hidden gifts that I have to get out and prepare for distribution this morning. So I'm on the task here. All right, back to you, Jim. W8STX. This is W8MAP.
W8STX, Matt, great to hear you on the radio this morning, and good to know that you are pursuing your hobbies, but you're ready to do your duty in distributing presents. And Joe, your story reminds me of a funny thing that happened when I moved to Michigan. When I was a young man, I had dark hair and a dark beard, and I looked quite a bit different than I do now. Now my hair is mostly white with a little bit of gray streaked through it, and the beard is pretty much white like it. So, you know, and with my physique, I do resemble a little bit of a Santa Claus-like look. I break for time. And when I went to Frankenmuth, I went up to the counter to check in. We're staying overnight, and the clerk looked up to me and said, "Welcome back." And I thought, "What? Welcome back?" Well, he was referring to my Santa-like appearance, and so that was pretty funny. I have another Santa story that's probably even funnier than that, involving me, but I'll save that for another round. Over to you, NAQM. This is WASC.
Well, this is NAQM. Good morning, Matt. And Matt, in case you didn't know, today is the day we recognize the birth of the Savior, the one who bled and died that we might have the forgiveness of sins. Christmas. Merry Christmas. In case you didn't know, make sure your family knows. I'm just being funny, of course. But today is the day that we recognize as such, and it's a great day. Oh, it's a magic day for the kids. I remember when I was a kid, it had a special magic. I didn't think in terms of the Savior, but it just has a special magnet, and it has for centuries. Let me send it out. Let's see. It goes to Joe. KE8ZYQ. This is NAQM.
Yep, KE4ZYQ. That's okay, Wes. You got it wrong, but I get it right. That's the main thing. KE4ZYQ. Everybody wants to change it to an 8, but I'm used to that. But I got to tell you another quick story just because it came to mind. Kind of funny, back in Tennessee when I worked for a trauma center hospital, they had me working at a skilled step-down unit, skilled facility for those that aren't ready for, but it's a hospital, so they had me work their physical therapy. Well, one weekend or one day I was up, and the workers there said, "Well, we want somebody to be dressed up in a fit to give a card from all of us to the nurse that was recovering, and they had me dressed up, and I was off that day, and they had me say, I told her, no, I'll do it. So that office dressed in a gorilla outfit, head to toe, and I had shorts on and t-shirts, that kind of thing, and it was summertime, thank heaven. But I dressed in a gorilla outfit, and they didn't know until I got in the major exercise room. Let me reset here a second. KE4ZYQ. Well, they were all in a gymnasium or a little hall or a little room that was a gym area for rehab. Well, they were all in there for the birthday party for the nurse. In the social worker's office with them. I put on a gorilla outfit and had a book box, and I had a tape recorder in there, a tape in there. The song Billie Jean Is Not Your Lover, or Is Not My or whatever. And I walked in the room, had somebody turn on the radio on a table, and I danced around the girl, just not weird, just danced around and ended up giving her. And when they wondered who this person was, they were all laughing, saying, "Oh, this is the best one that we've had so far for going away for anybody." And then I had to take that head off, the gorilla head off, and I was burning up and passed out. And everybody said, "Wait a minute, you're supposed to be on stage. Is this the second shot for you?" And they all laughed. And somewhere there's a picture of that. I got to get that. Let's see, I think it goes over to Matt. W8MAP from KE4ZYQ.
Another good one, Joe. Thanks. That's good. Hey, guys, listen, I've got a thing that came up. One of our church folks woke up this morning to water in their basement, so I've got to go collect a pump and hose to help them out because they don't anticipate they're going to be able to get their sump pump replaced today. And they have a bunch bunch of family guests coming over. So I'm going to get that collected and get myself cleaned up here and move on into the day. Have a good one, guys. We'll talk to you later. W8MAP73, and I will be clear. W8STX to take it unless somebody else is going to jump in.
NHM, quick.
Yes.
Okay, Matt, I have a sump pump. A couple years ago, I had a plumber come in and replace my sump pump. I just didn't like the way that it worked. It had a floater with it. Well, anyway, it works. And I'm coming into Ann Arbor a little bit later this morning. I can bring that to you. It's a working sump pump. So anyway, Matt, let me know. And thank you. Over to you, Matt.
Thanks a lot, Wes. Let's hold off on that. I'll see what they want to do. They're going to come over and just get the temporary plug-in pump that goes to a garden hose from me and get at least some of the water out of their basement. They're kind of in an emergent situation. So hang on to that thought. I'll try to remember and offer that to them when they stop over. But thank you very much. W8MAP, clear.
Thank you. Well, I'll put the pump in my car anyway, so I will have it. So it's just an option. Okay, so let's see. NAQM over to, let's see, goes to, I'm out of place. Goes to Jim at W8STX. This is NAQM.
This is W8STX, and my other funny Santa story about me relates to one of the first times that my new adopted family and I all went out to dinner together. We went to an Italian place, and it used to be a favorite of my stepson, but I don't know whether it's a favorite anymore or not. But anyway, we were eating, and we were talking, and my stepdaughter, who was only 12 or 13 at the time, looked at me, and, she was sort of struggling to figure out, things to say to the new man in the family. And she said, Jim, you're probably the closest thing to Santa this family is ever going to have. And of course, she was referring to my appearance, but I was thinking more along other lines, like financial lines, or I was hoping that I was going to be a positive presence in their lives. And so, Santa. And with that, over to Wes, NAQM. This is W8STX.
NHPUY, repeater.
And they come, leave me a little pause there in case someone else wants to join. So, those things. Several years ago, I went down in the basement and had a surprise. Some pump had stopped working. Without going into a long story, the pump wasn't bad at all, but there were some other issues causing it not to activate. But the basement was flooded. I paid $4,000 in cleanup expenses. And it wouldn't have been so bad, except just as it happened, I had not visited the basement in like 4 days, which was unusual. Normally I'd visit the basement, at least every other day, but that was a trying time. That was so hard emotionally, so hard. So I feel for those people. And then on Christmas Day, so anyway, last night I had an interesting experience. Break for repeater. I did some dishwasher maintenance. Put some vinegar in there, ran a cycle, and I used up the last of the white vinegar. And then my wife said later in the evening, "Where's the white vinegar? Oh, I used it all. I have to have it." So So I called around. I found the dollar store was open. It was like 8 o'clock. They stay open till 10. Went there and bought a jug of white vinegar. Oh, so thankful they were open. There were two attendants there. I gave the cashier 20. Said, split this between you. And then this morning I went to the North Lake store, and there were